So this video is the beginner's guide for the CATIGA CS-121. This one I got at Walgreens and is a graphing calculator and does a few things that the TI-83 does. Okay, let's do some basic things. Let's turn it on. Okay, let's do some adding like 3 plus 4, right? 3 plus 4 equals, right? That gives you 7. Let's say negative 3 minus 6, right? The negative is right here, negative 3. Take away 6, enter, right? Gives you 9. If the signs are the same, keep the signs and add. You can see that there's an arrow that's going up, and we'll talk about that. That just means that some of these answers are going up. Negative 3 plus minus 9, right? This one's still negative 3 minus 9. The signs are the same. Let's see. So we'll put it in there, negative 3, and there's a plus. And then you could put the parentheses. Well, let's do that. And then negative 9. This negative, not a subtraction. Close it. Enter. Negative 12. See that? 3 times 4, right? 3 times 4. You can see it's an X, not a little star. Equals 12. Let's say I wanted to grab one of these answers, right? Like this negative 9. If we use the arrow here, right? There it is. See, it's this one. And we can press enter, gives you negative 9. And then let's say you wanted to multiply that, the answer, right, times 8, which gives you negative 72. Okay, negative 3 times negative 4, let's say. Negative 3 times negative 4, right, gives you 12. Signs are the same, you add. And 3 parentheses 4, take away, let's say 5 equals, right? What I'll do is do the math in here first, which will be negative 1, then times 3, and that's going to give you negative 3. Let's see if it does that. 3 parentheses, you don't have to put a times, it knows. 4, and this is a take away 5, and then close the parentheses, gives you that negative 3. Okay, let's do some fractions. Like, let's say you want to do 3 over 4 plus half, right? Well, one way you can do it is 3 divided by 4, right? Plus 1 divided by 2, 2 equals 1.25. That's one way. And another way is to use the fraction right here, the fraction key. So let's say 3 ABC 4, you can see it has some type of angle bracket, plus 1 ABC 2. As you can see, this looks a little bit more formal, right, like in your book, equals 1 1/4. 1 1/4. This is the same answer. So how can we change that, right? Well, we can press the ABC button, and it gives you 1.25. Press it again, gives you 1 1/4. Now, here, this is a yellow button, and these don't look yellow to me. My eyesight might be going, maybe it is. It probably is. But you see it says D over C, so we go Shift ABC, and it gives you 5 over 4, which is 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, 5 over 4. So that's doing okay right there. All right, and then you can do, subtraction, like 5 3/4, take away 1/2, right? What does that equal to? Well, we can go 5 ABC, 3 ABC, 4. So that's 5 3/4, take away, not negative, but take away 1 ABC, 2 equals 5 1/4. Shift ABC gives you 21/4. And if we press ABC, right, it gives you 5.25. You know, what about like something like 8 minus 3/4, right? So 8 take away 3 ABC 4. You can do that. That gives you 7/4, and you can do the rest. Okay, so how about exponents? Like 2 to the third, right? Well, that's easy. There's a 3 key here, x to the 3 key, so 2 x to the third gives you 8. And you can see we still have the arrow doing some of this math that we have here. You can copy that if you want. Let's say 2 squared, right? 2 squared. Here's 2 and then squared equals, that's going to be 4. How about if I wanted -5 to the third? Can I do that? Let's see. So we got -5 to the third, -125. How about 2 to the 5th power? So that's going to be a little bit different. If you look at the XY key here, right, that gives you X and then Y. X would be 2 and Y would be 5. So what we want to do is we want to put 2 first, X to the Y, and 5. So it's 2 caret 5. The caret gives you, tells you that it's going to be an exponent. Okay, so we press equals and 32. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? That's 4, that's 8, that's 16, that's another 2, 32. Okay, then how about the square root of 5, right? So here, if we press square root, we need to press that first and then put the 5 in there, and it gives you 2.236. Let's say the square root of 16, we know that to be 4, right? Or let's say the square root of 5, take away the square root of 2/3, right? So it's going to be the square root of 5, and then take away, let's say this whole thing, square root of 2ABC3 equals 1.419. If you have the square root of 5 take away 10, then I think it would be best to do the square root of parentheses 5 take away 10, and it knows that this whole thing is in here, and it's going to give you an error because it's going to be the square root of -5. So it looks like it's doing that right. How about the third root of 8, right? So the third root of 8, and this one, you can barely see it here, but this one is the third root. So we press shift. Oh, let's erase that. So shift and then X cubed, right? The shift gives me the secondary key, 3, like the third root of what, 8, and that's going to give you 2, right? Because if you think about it, 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, 2 to the third, right, of the third power. This one goes in the bottom, 2, 3 over 3, 2 over 1, 2 to the 1 is 2. A little bit of math. Right, how about the fifth root of, I don't know, 72, let's say. So right here, this is the X. So we put 5 first, shift, X to the Y key. So the 5 is the fifth root of what? 72. And that gives you 2.352, which is cool. It was a nice calculator so far. And then what we can do, right, with this answer, right, what we can say is X to the Y, right? This answer, right, to the power of what? 5 gives you 72. So it did a reverse process. Okay, let's say I have 1 over 2 times 5, right? One way we can do it is 1 divided by parentheses, 2 times 5, close parentheses, and it gives you 0.1. What you can do too is you can do this math first. 2 times 5, which gives you 10, right? And what we can do is we can look over here at the x squared button, and it's x minus 1. It's the inverse, so shift x. So whatever answer this was, right, 2 times 5 is 10, and then do the inverse. It gives you the same answer. So that key is there for you to explore. Okay. Let's say you had 1 over the square root of 8, right? What we can do is we can do the square root of 8, enter, and then shift of that answer. Oops, wait a minute, let's see. I did something wrong here. So the square root of 8, enter, and then the inverse of that. There it is, okay. All right, did something wrong there. All right, let's do logs. The log of 10, and this is the log of base 10, okay? It doesn't show you right here. So we go log first. Oops, let's see, let's turn that off there. So we're going to go log 10 equals, that's going to give you 1. How about the natural log? Natural log of 5, right? So here's the natural log right here. So we press natural log 5 equals 1.609. Okay. How about 10 to the 5th power, right? 10 to the 5th power. So that one is 10 to the x. Let's see if I remember. It's over here somewhere. This one on the log. So shift this button here, and then we press 5. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, right? And there it is. How about e to the 5th power? So there's the natural log, e to the x. So shift e to the 5th, enter, 148.413. Note that I'm not erasing anything. I'm not pressing AC or anything to delete the number that's right there. It just keeps going. It just keeps going on top. How about 3 pi? I want that number, sure. 3 and then pi. Here, this one's pi. I didn't have to say multiply. Gives you the answer, 9.42. Okay. How about scientific notation, right? We have to be in a mode to be in scientific notation. Let's see. If we click on mode 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then move the arrow over to scientific mode and press scientific mode, and then press 9 for, I want 9 values. Now I'm in scientific mode. See, the double zeros are here, like 3 times 10 to the 8th, right? This times 10 is this right here, and then the 8 would show up right here. So what do we do? Let's say I wanted to calculate 3.54, right? Times 800 or something. Okay, 3.45 times 800 equals, and it's going to give me 2.76 times 10 to the 3rd. So it's in scientific notation. Let's say I wanted to do 4.38 times 10 to the fourth minus 5.82 times 10 to the fourth, right? So what we'll do is 4.38 and then exponent, right? 4. So this right here is represented by the e, okay? Take away 5.82. Oh, look at that. So what we can do is we can use the arrows here. 5.82, the exponent to the fourth, to the power of 4. Okay, and then it gives me negative 1.44 times 10 to the fourth, right? Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to mode again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to keep it as the arrow normal. And I'm going to pick number 2 as something to do with the notation, the scientific notation at a certain level. Press AC, okay? Let's say 3/4, right? And I want this as a percent. So 3 divided by 4, right, gives you 0.75. But if I wanted a percent, I go over here on the equal sign, shift equals, right? It's like multiplying by 100, and it's going to give me 75%. All right, okay. All right, let's keep going. Let's do something like cosine of 30, right? So we go cosine of 30, enter, gives you 0.866. Let's see, if you press mode, 1, 2, 3, right, you can go to radians, right, and it gives you R, so you can do in radians mode. So you can do something like, let's say the sine, shift, pi, and it gives you 0, see? Let's get out of this mode. Let's go to degrees, and now you see D for degrees. There's the arc sine, right, which is above the sine, above the cosine for the arc cosine, and so forth, and the arctangent. What about if I want 3 factorial, right? 3 factorial, let's see, which would be here, where the square root is. So 3, shift, factorial, gives you 6. Okay. All right. So that gives you some basic features of the arithmetic, and then some very, very, very basic, other things that this calculator has. For example, it can integrate, right? You'll need values. I forget what it's called, definite integrals or something. Don't quote me on that. So I would turn it off and on again, just to reset it after doing all that math. And let's press Shift ABC, and it gives you the integration. Let's say 3x, so 3, and then you press this X T button, that gives you the X. Then the plus 2. Then what we need to do, right, we need to tell it where do you want to integrate it. So what we're going to do is shift height, which gives you a comma, and go from 5 to 8, 5, shift height to 8, close it, equals, and it gives you 64.5. Okay, You can do that. Let's say you wanted to graph the square root of x, right? Let's say you wanted to do that. Let's turn it on. Let's press the on button, reset it, and we'll click on range first. So this one's x, right? This one's y. So let's go from -10 to 16. Let's say 5 to 5. Let's say -16. Okay, that's -16. So x min, right, we'll say -16. Enter. The max, we'll say 16. A scale, 1. The min, we'll say, that's -5. -5. The max will be 5. Scale's 1. And that's all I really need. Okay. Then what I want to do is I want to look for the G-solve. And right here it says function on the top. So shift G-solve, the first function. What would it be? The square root of x. Okay, we press enter. And then what we want to do is we want to draw it. And there it is. It's a little bit, you know, a little bit weird in terms of it doesn't have any values, but we know that it goes up to 16, and then we can use a trace to trace around. See, it's going up right here. And that's basically the graphing feature. There's more. Again, this is just a start. This is a beginner's guide. Okay, so let's do some stats, right? Some stats. So let's turn this on. And what we need to do is we need to put it in a, so there's the stats mode, there's a, you know, the descriptive statistics, and then there's the regression. So if we have one variable like x, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, for my variables, and you want to know like what's the average, the standard, the population standard deviation, or just sample standard deviation, right? We can do those this way. So what we do is we press mode, and then we press the arrow, and we get to SD, standard. I think that's a standard deviation mode. So we press equals, and then we've got SD. See that? So what we want to do is we want to add the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 1, right? And plus 2, and plus 3, and plus 4, and plus 5, and plus. The average will be 3, so we'll see if this is right. So the average is right here, x bar. So if we get shift 1, this is 3. Perfect. We can get the sum of x, right? Because sometimes we'll need the sum of x. That's not shift. This is alpha. Sum of x gives you 15. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the sum of that. Here we can do n, right? N means how many values do you have? 5. So alpha n gives you 5. The sum of x squared, the sum of x squared, so alpha sum of x squared gives you 55. Okay, cool. And that's, let's see, we can do the population standard deviation, which is 2, so shift 2, right, which is 1.41, and then the sampling, this is the sample standard deviation, shift 3, and that's 1.581. Okay, that's really neat. Regression, which will give you, we're going to be doing 2 variables. And now we have two columns of data. The first thing we need to do is to erase the data that we had previously. To do that, we're in standard deviation mode. We're going to go press Shift and AC, that clears it. You press equals, that goes away. Now what we want to do is we want to go press mode, press the arrow to the right, and more. We want to go to regression, press equals. Linear regression, we want to press because we have log exponential. And now we're in regression linear. Now let's put this data here, 1, 10. And so there's a comma. So 1, the comma's over here where the hype is, shift, hype, 10, and then press the M plus key. And it gives you this, I don't know, it gives you this, the graph. Maybe it's plotting the points. 2, shift, comma, 20, because that's my second data point. Press M plus. 3, shift, hype, 30, M plus. 4, shift, hype, 40, M plus. And the last one, 5, shift, comma, right, with the hype, 50, M plus. Then press AC to get out of it. Now we can do a lot of things. Now we replace the data. Let's find the mean of x. So go shift, x bar, right, the mean of x, 3. Shift 4 is the mean of y, okay. Then we can do the standard deviation, the population standard deviation for y, it's right here, right, on 5, you have to press shift. The population standard deviation for x, you press shift, and 2 gives you the population standard deviation. The sample standard deviation is on 6 for y, so shift 6, right, it gives you the answer, and shift 3 gives you the sample population for x. Very nice. Then you can see that it gives you the sums. So here it gives you the sum of x times y, so alpha 4, sum of xy. Then press alpha 5 for the sum of y, and then alpha, the sum of y squared, and let's press 6. Then how many data points you have? 5 of them, so alpha 1 for n gives you 5. And then shift 2 for the sum of x, and then alpha 3 to give you the sum of x squared, 55. These, I don't know why they don't work. If you press the sum of x to the 4th, it doesn't give it to you. It probably is in a different mode. But again, it gives you some features for statistics. And then there's other features that you can explore in terms of finding the linear regression, the whole y hat equals ax plus b. You can read that in the manual. It does come with the manual. So overall, you can see that this graphing calculator has some features, just like TI-83 or 84. So hopefully that gives you a very basic understanding of how to use this particular calculator. If you are using it, please tell us what math class you're using it. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. Tell your teacher all about it. And I hope you have a great day.